Good day, peeps, ladies and gents, germs, what have you. I've been offline for a bit, had some house stuff to work on, and got a new furnace installed in my house, and along with some other odds and ends. So, along with not feeling too great, I'm back on the air right now, playing some Tactics Ogre. I don't exactly know what the hell I'm going to talk about at this point, since, well, hold on, this is way too loud. The game is essentially finished at this point. I did everything that I can think of doing within the confines of the game. The only thing I haven't got are some of the relics, which I honestly am not willing to grind for anymore at this point. Let's see how many hours I put into this so far. Okay, so it says 222 hours, but that's only accounting for the PS5 version. At which point, I basically was already done with the game after playing on the PS4. I only had a few trophies left, so I basically hopped on the PS5, did a few extra things, and bam, platinum. But there are still a lot of things that you can do in the game to maximize, to min-max your characters, and all that. I'm not quite sure what we're doing today. Now, I know you can get a special kind of relic of the Brunhilde from the Coda 4 fight with Sir Lightpatch. Not a pirate, but not a very nice man. And that is a bitch, because you're supposedly supposed to do it with three people. You're supposed to do it with Vice, you're supposed to do it with Denim, and you're supposed to do it with Katra. So I did that. I completed that. It took a fucking hour and a half, and I had to abuse the shit out of the tarot card, the chariot. I didn't get anything. I didn't get the Ambition. I didn't get the Brunhilde relic. So I was like, you know what, fuck this. I have fought that at least 5 or 6 times. I've heard some people fighting it as many as 50 times in order to get that Brunhilde relic. But you know what? No. I know what my limits are. And that is the borderline insanity. So what we're going to do for about the 10th time is to go to the St. Bronze Ruins, because I think there's some drops there and some special encounters that you can only get when you have a certain kind of material, which I'm lacking. I need to make some forks, actually. There are these items that are called Heavenly Forks or Divine Forks or some such. That you need to craft in order to have these encounters with these characters, NPCs that you can fight, called the Heavenly Generals. I have already beaten all of them, but in order to maximize the efficiency of each weapon that they have to offer, you have to beat them multiple times for their relic items. Now, this is what you do. You go into the relics, you upgrade once you get the ability to go into and mess around with stuff. You can go in here, and when you get multiple copies of an item, you can combine them to become a little bit stronger. You see there's +2, +2, +2, blah, 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 blah. And since Oz is one of my main characters, obviously I'm going to give her the best stuff that I can at this point. Let's see. Shit's hot in here. My furnace is working a bit too well right now. New one. I found a whole bunch of wing rings. I was so happy during this run of the POT, Dead. What is it called? The Phantom of the Dead, or blah, 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 blah. Pardon me. So right now, I'm just trying to trick my guys out a little bit. So I'm gonna craft some things called Heavenly Forks if I have the materials for it. I can get enchanted feathers in the Farampa Wildwood, but you have to kind of farm them from some of the characters there. I'm not sure how interested I am in doing that at the moment. So there it is, the Heaven's Fork. Now I can make 12 of these because I have 12 racks. Isn't that right? Yeah. Now I'm only going to make 8 or so. And by 8 I mean 6, of course. Obviously, right? And there's a reason for that. There are 4 generals at least in the St. Bronze Ruins. And one of them, the encounters, you get the Pavana, which is an absolutely outstanding spear for the lightning enchanted element. So speaking of which, let's take a look at her. Ravnus has that, which is kind of thematic because she's very, very fast, like lightning. So I kind of themed her up with that, and I think it works pretty well. She's doing pretty damn good in terms of damage, but I think she could do better. And I need to work on her defense a bit as well. But right now I'm just kind of going through and seeing what I can do to improve my character. I don't know why I do this to myself, by the way. Like, I've put about 400 hours into the game thus far, which pales in comparison to the several thousand into, but I don't think I'm going to do that for this version. Like I said, my sanity is, it's getting more important to maintain these days, and I don't feel like that's very suitable for it. It's on OB. So let's just see what happens. Usually they make very stupid decisions. I end up having to go in and mess with stuff, but we'll see what happens. I'm just going to kind of zone out here. So I'm just going to put it on auto battle. And like I said, oftentimes the AI for your characters is absolutely abhorrent. And there'll be all kinds of mistakes that they make, and you'll just be like, dude, what the fuck, seriously? You know, you could have done this, you could have used this, you should have done this, you should have gotten this, and they're pretty stupid. No, I'm not sure if that's just accounting for the AI from the PSP version, but it seems to me that the options that you can give the AI were more minimized this time around, and less articulated to confining to what's going on the field. Especially when accounting for a lot of the pickups. The new cards, for example, the cards that increase your stats, many times they'll just kind of fly right by it like it's not even there. I don't know if the AI even is aware that it's there. So they might be taking that old PSP AI and applying it to the new game, which is why it's not accounting for that. I don't know. Could be any number of things, but right now, I'm just here to kind of... I've done this probably dozens of times in the course of my life, and just going through the San Bronze ruins alone. And so I'm auto battling right now. We're going to see how my guys do. Pretty good damage there. Ravnus is obviously very quick, so she is often in the front, but her defense is such that she often can get knocked down pretty quick as well. So we're hoping that doesn't happen. A log. What a wonderful thing. To pick up a log when you're fighting a battle. Where would you put that? You know, I mean, if you're on the battlefield, I'd probably use it to smack an enemy in the face with. But apparently there's this endless inventory in your back pocket. So that's a new spell that I got not too long ago. For the Witcher. Deneb, who is one of my favorite characters from the Ogre Battle series. I thought it was thematically relevant to change her from a shaman back to the witches. It's her main class, and there's some pretty cool perks to it. It's a very status effect driven class, lots of charm. Plus, I was able to get her a whip, the charm whip that is awesome. I can't remember the name of it right now, and it's working pretty well so far. I mean, she just charms everything. It creates a lot of issues in the backfield when she's up near the enemy, and when you couple that along with having Ozma in your party who has the same whip, I mean, you can really do some destructive things and make the enemy do some major damage to their own characters. So I haven't played the game that way. Usually I'm just doing damage. I'm trying to max damage, so I have less archers in this one. In the PSP version, archers were absolutely broken. Aracel was probably in the game. In terms of the damage, just the raw output of damage she's able to do. So I kind of minimize that and try to work within the confines of the characters and their themes and all that. Sword Masters, I feel like, are still somewhat useless. Very niche type of class that I wish I could use with, what's his name? Hobiram. But he gets to... Okay, I'm just gonna hit this. They have some good like avoiding attacks, but he's by far the best archer in the game due to his speed and his dex rating. So I usually just do that. But right now I'm trying to make him into a class that I've relegated to the sidelines in the past. Hobirum is a Berserker because the Berserker class is frickin' broken in this game. It wasn't too good in the PSP version. I didn't use it hardly at all. But I got his special, the Sanction. I don't really know what the French equivalent of the English word would be for that. But it does some pretty heavy damage. Obviously, I made him Earth Elemental to take care of that and to help kind of supplement, in terms of the effects and the attenuated skills with defense as well. So I'm trying to, like I said, min-max. We'll see what happens. Let's see what happens. So I was finally able to get Ambition, the sword that is Tartar Lancelot, or Lancelot Tartarus, or whatever the fuck, however you pronounce that. And he's doing just fine with it. I gave it to, not Murden, this guy with the bowl cut. I love it. No, it's not a bowl cut. Gildas, he's one of my favorite characters. I probably don't even need this shield, if I'm to be honest, and it would save him some RT. So how do I explain RT? It's just kind of like a waiting time. It describes how quickly your characters recover from their last turn or proceed in battle. So the lower that number, the faster the character. So obviously on the battlefield you want to have a lot of characters who are fast, so they get more turns. And there's ways to accentuate that further with gear and whatnot, and skills. So now Warren's an interesting case. Warren Oman, one of my favorite characters from Ogre Battle, is kind of goofy. The Starseer, or the Astromancer, whatever they're calling him these days, he's okay. I don't feel like he's as strong as he used to be, so I might have to amp him up a bit. I don't know exactly how to do that at this point. But one thing I should do is probably take a breath and pass out during this Tactics Ogre soliloquy that I am delivering. So let's just take a look at what happens and see if my guys act like fools on the battlefield, since they're AI, and we'll see what goes from there. So De-Evolve is a frickin' outstanding skill that lowers any character unit by 10 levels. So obviously they're not going to be hitting as hard, their defense is going to be more susceptible, you can open it up to stronger attacks. Coupling that along with archers would be a good idea, since they can hit from afar and they have piercing damage, which is going to work well when you lower the levels of the enemy like that. Ooh, 5 hit points. I think that's max. So they're doing okay, just because I've leveled them so high, they better not lose. Like, come on. Alright. Yeah, he opts for those a lot. He just, gets into the action and starts hitting people with his mace. That's not what magicians do, Warren. You can't talk your sense to Warren, he's crazy. Don't worry about it. Alright, let's see what Hobirum does. That's some pretty big damage. It's good to class him up with the Berserker class because his RT is so quick, and the Berserker class is broken, so it's a good combination. Most characters who run Berserker will be 6 RTs slower than him, at least. Which means this turn's going to come that much sooner. Otherwise, you're waiting a little bit too long to get into the thick of the battle. So I have to choose 3 characters here. I've done this so many goddamn times. Ugh. Okay, who do I usually get? And let's go with Canopus. Canopus, to me, is like the equivalent of Peter from Shining Force 2. He's always going to be in your party. He's a winged creature. And he absolutely, his stats are absolutely ridiculous. And especially earlier on, he's useful because he can reach all types of the battlefield that other characters cannot. If you pair him as an archer, well, particularly in the PSP version, he is basically unstoppable. It's just ridiculous. I made him a Buccaneer, and he's been just absolutely destroying people as this class, so I'm leaving him as that with it for a bit. Typically, I keep him Vartan because he's got access to a lot of different skills that aren't available to him right now, but it's not as necessary. I mean, he actually has pretty good range when he gets his magic points height a little bit higher, so. And he's using Marteam's poison sword from a distance. Poison is a great skill. It's just doing inactive damage at regular intervals. And so far that I actually don't have to mess with these guys. Just let the A. Even if they make stupid moves at this point, they are sufficiently strong to where they're not going to have an issue. So that's nice. So that's why I'm grinding right now. I don't really feel like using my brain right now. I'm just kind of explaining kind of where I'm at the game. This is post-game, very much. I probably should have put this down about 20 hours ago, but I can't. I've got a real problem here. I think I need some intervention. I'm going to blame Hitachi Sakamoto and Hazumi Matsuno for making this incredible game. I simply can't put it down. So, for this terrible, terrible monologue I'm giving here. So here's charms. We're doing some charm work here, getting some. Usually you'd want to go to the Phantom of the Dead or whatever in order to get those. Level 50 and above, you start getting 2 or 3 charms if you fulfill certain criteria during the battles. But okay, let's see here. Put her back here. Probably fine there. Alright, so we're going to stick. Yeah, I'll stick with that. They'll be fine. They have to fight this witch, or whatever, this witch lady that is making angels. Let's take a look. I can't tell if this is a man or a woman, but I'm not going to ask. She looks pretty mean. I don't think I'd want to mess with her. So that's a rude inverse. If you know what a rude inverse is, I'll give you props. It is a Vagrant Story kind of tie-in. Which is funny. It kind of makes you wonder about these worlds that Hazumi Matsuno has made and how they're connected. I think it's just kind of a superficial connection at this point in terms of Ivalice and Zenobia and all the different Ogre Battle properties that go and lands that go along with it. But I like it. It kind of rewards those players who are into his games. And the game design, in many ways, I still can't get over this, how they made a game like this. And obviously they have perfected over the years. Just in terms of the look, the layout, the level of detail, there's nothing like it. And when they say this is the crown jewel of tactical role-playing games, I would absolutely agree with that. I love these kind of games, and I probably, in terms of playtime, played this one a multitude times more than my next favorite, which is probably Shining Force 2. Fire Emblem's a great series if you like these kinds of games. Has more of an anime look. But I find this charming. The look of the game charming, the characters, the way they move. You can rotate the camera, you can go in, you can go out, you can actually see pretty well what's going on the battlefield. You can actually run it from here as well. What we're trying to do, obviously, do is get to the top so we can start fucking them up, because that is what I aim to do. And they're doing like hardly any damage to my guys at this point. I don't know what their level is. Oh man, he got all of his buffs at once. These guys are higher level than us, but we're... So that's good. Dun 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 bum 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 bum. This is probably my favorite song in the soundtrack, or one of them. Always has been. Ever since I got the ROM for this game, I heard this song in its original form, including the opening piece, A Wish, or something like... I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's one of the most beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard. And same goes for the Ogre Battle piece for the Super Nintendo. That opening piece, it shows War and Oman, and you get to pick your tarot cards to kind of decide the fate of your character and the kind of balance that they have in terms of their stats. And this absolutely incredible, mystical sounding music comes in, and absolutely, it's just stirring. And if I had any way to track, that's how I would describe it. It's very emotionally driven, very impactful. There's moments of stress, there's moments of peace, there's lots of peaks and valleys, and harmonically, it's very intense. So there's after you beat the game, you can rename Denim to whatever you want. I named him after myself because, well, why the fuck not? And it's fun. You're just having fun here, so. Yeah, poison that bitch. Out of boa cannabis. And that's his sister right there, Yuria. I made her an archer initially, but that was unfair, so I try to kind of stick with her thematic class, which is the songstress. And I realized how broken that was as well. And I'm sure there's ways to make it even more broken, but it's very useful, but she's very squishy right now. So I gotta kind of watch that. Bitch. Eat it. Yeah, this isn't really providing too much of a challenge at this point. That's fine. I like that about this game. I mean, I do not like how they level cap things. So this is how you go around that. If you really want to do some extra damage, end game, post game, you got to get charms and these little things in the battlefield. I don't know how those accrue and how the game decides how many of those are required to increase one of your stats. And I'm talking about those green cards right now spinning. But it seems like a considerable amount. You don't just pick up one and then get one increase to that particular stat. So let's take a look at this a little bit further. Maybe someone else can answer this in the comments, but let's see, this one increases loyalty, this one increases agility, but this one will increase hit points and magic points. That's a good one. If you get a good roll on it, all the better. See, this is kind of a joke at this point. Got Sherry right there. She's a fucking badass. I'm just pounding him. I'm just fucking carpet bombing him. It feels a little bit mean, but it does get harder as you get higher up on the level in this area. So I do want to pick up that HP card, but I think my guys are gonna kill the boss before she has that chance to pick that up. So this gets hit points and magic points back to all the characters in the vicinity. I'm gonna pick that up. Die, bitch. Eat it. Alright. We're almost there. I have a few angels in my party at the moment, but they are very, very slow. So I typically don't use them. Okay, I'm gonna... How many hit points? 3, that's fine. Gotta think long term. Well, you don't have to. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I'm just suggesting. The game is very, very long. You gotta think ahead a bit. It may be 2 or 3 hit points there, but if you keep picking those up every battle, you're gonna accrue hundreds of extra hit points, which is obviously gonna be very beneficial to you. So I'm just kind of ransacking the game at this point. I got all the boss weapons at the end of the Coda 4 battle, and it's so fun. You have to work really hard for that shit. The drops are, what, 5%? Maybe less. You got some extra charms there. So now I'm trying to think who I'm going to start dipping points into. I'd try to, for each time I do this, try to find a character to aggregate these charms to. I feel like Denim is strong enough at this point. He's doing 1,600 damage. Canopus is strong enough. Like he's just going to be in your party all the time. So his dex is very high. Her magic is obviously. You know who I was thinking I was going to work on Ravenous a bit. Because I want her to hit harder and I want her to be a bigger part of my front line. She's quick enough. We just got to make her tough. Which is what we're doing right now. Give her some more durability in the vitality department, a little bit more dex as well. And her intelligence is also pretty low, given that she can hit pretty hard with some of her skills. The Valkyrie class is excellent in this game. It's very, very... The utility is there. You can run Thunderbird 2 or some of the other really nice... area effects attacks that can attack up to 6 to 8 times max, I think. Usually you'll get between 5 and 7. You got the lightning bow. I need to get the lightning bow 4. But I think Warren is the only one who has that currently. That's alright. It uses up less resources and it's probably more useful for her at this point because she only has Mediate 2. Ease is super nice to have on a character like this in the front line, and of course Boon of Swiftness. So she is in pretty good shape. I'm just trying to increase her defense at this point. Alright, what's going on with this guy? Annoying. I think we might skip that. That doesn't look like much fun, right? And if there's not much of an incentive to go and do something, I'm not going to. These are also annoying, but I think... Which one can we finish quicker? Let's get rid of Gildas here, my main man. That's alright, we'll get you back. And, Asselfan. It was always been one of my favorite characters. He's a little underpowered this time around, the PSP version. He's pretty much in sprint mode all the damn time. So he's one of the, even though his RT is pretty high, he's almost always in the middle of the action. This time around, you got to find the skill cards in order to really make him a valuable asset. He's still good though. So let's see what these idiot AI do. They might do good, they might do bad. We'll see. And they all have. We're like running the flying boots and the CT shoes and equipment. So if they get knocked off a precarious ledge, they're not gonna frickin' die. Which is would in the PSP version you get 3 lives with each character. So each time they would fall off a cliff and die, you have 2 more chances. After you lose all 3 hearts, if they fall off say 3 times, you have to find the character and start over from scratch. And this one you don't even get that. If a character falls off a cliff, they're dead. You have to recruit them. You got to put more charms in them. Their equipment is gone. You're in deep shit. So there's definitely an incentive at this point, especially for these sky stages, in order to survive, to have these equipped in all your characters. You don't want to spend hours and hours and hours building from an army just to lose them to gravity. That is not an efficient use of time, in my opinion. Oh, there we go. So you look, just hammering them. And Canopus is almost always in my party at all times. Like I said, he reminds me quite a bit of Peter. from Shining Force 2, who's also an outstanding character and almost always will be in your party from start to finish. When I think about the difference between the games Shining Force and Tactics Ogre, Shining Force 2 almost feels like an arcade-style strategy game, tactical game. Very fast-paced, but, I mean, it's not a short game. I can't get into the first Shining Force after playing Shining Force 2. First, it just feels a little bit plodding, and the music doesn't really do it for me. But 2 is my gig. Motoaki Takanuchi, and if I'm butchering that, I'm sorry, sir, is one of my favorite composers. He didn't do that much work in the field, but I consider him one of the greats. In terms of his methodology for composition. I find lots of parallels between him and actually Tadashi Sakamoto. And it's funny because the Motoaki Takanuchi and Masui Matsuo? Oh, goddamn. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Oh, anyways, I'm going to have to look that up now because I don't feel like an idiot. Hazumi Matsuo. I know it's something Matsuo. And he went to school with Takanuchi at the same time. I think it was at Tokyo U. And they were in the music conservatory together, studying. I'm the one who's stuttering right now. Under the Dragon Quest composer. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with these names. But I think there is a correlation here in style and methodology. Now it's going to bother me. Dragon Quest composer. Give me a second. I know his name. His music is very important to me. I love it. Shitballs. He passed away recently. I know he wasn't the most popular man on the political level. Okay, Sugiyama. Koichi Sugiyama. So, god dang, what was I talking about? Matsuo, who also worked in Ogre Battle with Hitoshi Sakamoto and Masaru Iwata. They had some kind of connection between him, Matsuo, and Takanuchi. And I think there's some overlay there in terms of harmony, adventure, and things of that nature. I love both of their music very much. And I just wish Takanuchi would have had more experiences and would have stuck with video game music, but I guess he had other plans. I don't really know what happened with that, but Shining Force 2 is unique. And just a unique addition to the strategy and RPG genre in general. Just in terms of some of the structure, sense of structure, the counterpoint. It's very virtuosic. And of course, he didn't do that many soundtracks, but the impression that he left on me was humongous. I mean, as a composer, as someone who loves video game music, he did a few other soundtracks, didn't quite receive the acclaim. He did an incredible Shining Force 2 arranged soundtrack that I think a lot of people slept on. And usually when you hear people talk about the soundtrack for the Sega Genesis 2, especially that one, they're not really engaging with the musicality of it. They're hearing the bleeps and the bloops. And I have a particular love of FM synth, largely because of listening to Shining Force 2 and games of the such for the Sega Genesis. But if you look at it from a compositional perspective, in terms of the way that the game is developed thematically, it's incredibly daunting. It's impressive. There's not a whole lot of music for the game. Is it between 20 and 30 tracks or so? But the inventiveness and just the thematic development is very, very good. So check that out. If you're a fan of these kinds of games. Shining Force 2 is a little less involved on the story front. Obviously, not too many games can compare with Tactics Ogre. Let us cling together in that department. But if you're looking for kind of a lighthearted, kind of quickly paced, almost arcade-style type of tactical game, Shining Force 2 is a great choice. Great music, interesting characters, and lots of options in terms of customizing your party. See, look at that. I would have been dead there. I would have had to recruit Ozma again. And damn, that can be tough. Alright, so Sherry's about to die. We can't let that happen because Peter's stupid. Even if I put them on mend. Ah, crap. I'm not going to be able to get to her in time. Okay, we'll just go with that. We'll go back to you being a fierce attacker. Got some pretty good range as a Buccaneer. So we don't want Sherry to die because we want to get the charm cards at the end of the mission. So here you go, you dumbass. Alright. Yuria, give me some magic point, baby. Come on. Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff. I don't know what he's doing. No idea. Knock him off. You know you want to. Well, that works too, I guess. Why'd you do that? Seriously. I turned off a lot of the special animations because you get tired of it after the 10,000th time, but see, look, she's got the charm whip. Oh, yeah. So this guy's gotta go, obviously. Friend or foe? Well, you're dead. Eat it. So, no one died. We're good. So I got the charms, the end of the mission that you get. And I didn't bring a Dragoon in the battle, because Dragoons are pretty useless. You have dragons to fight. Don't remember there being any dragons on that last stage, but I guess I really wasn't paying much attention either. Pardon me. Yeah, whatever. Just go with it. The thing that also annoys me about this game is the characters don't often use some of the special effects on their equipment. So for an example, if they have a helmet or some shoes or gloves that give them celerity, I think is what it used to be called, just haste in general, they will not use that. Sometimes they use these just kind of at a whim, it would seem. Okay, let's go ahead and keep that on there. Yeah, Yuri has become kind of a favorite of mine in terms of songstress. I've never used it before. This has been a different kind of playthrough for me. I have my kind of my role playing that I go with for each character, but since the mechanics of the game have changed according, I've changed my tactics accordingly, and changed different characters depending on other various attributes that they bring to the table, just to kind of work within the confines of what I have here. So look at that. So what annoys me there, okay, we're going to look at Vice here real quick, is that he has the Snipe Gators. Well, what's important about those? Well, they give you boon of swiftness, for one thing. 3 casts. So initially what that will do is it'll give your character a free haste. And it is absolutely overpowered. But the characters, I have never seen them use that once on their items. I haven't picked up the Freud helmet yet. I don't know where it is. I'm not really too interested. Alright, let's just kind of let him do his own thing here. Okay, so here we go. Boon of swiftness, he has that on his equipment, so I can give that to somebody. So one thing that's nice to do, I can give this to Yuria. And she'll keep party so they can constantly cast their best skills at any given point. Now, and I think there's probably a way to increase the amount of gains that you get each time she uses that skill, Poised Arabesque, is I believe what it's called right now. Probably Mind and Intelligence, I don't know, don't quote me on that. There's still a lot about this game I don't understand, which is impressive considering the amount of time I've put into it. It's a very, very deep game in so many different kinds of ways. And I think it's what fascinates me about it is it's not a game that you got to take your time with it. You got to get into it. And on that front, for me, it wasn't that hard to do, just because I love these kinds of games, but it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It does seem to play quite a bit quicker than the PSP version. I don't think the addition of the cards were very favorable to the game. I don't think it was necessary. Just these random cards showing up in the battlefield. I get the tarot cards showing up, but this kind of felt a little gotcha to me. Like they were preparing it to be a phone game, and they were just like, no, actually, let's go with the console, which I'm very happy they did. Gives a newer generation a chance to experience this. Another game that I really want Vanillaware to deliver to modern-day systems is Muramasa Demon Blade. Why am I bringing that up? Oh, just another great Toshi Sakamoto soundtrack. George, I can't remember his last name, but great game designer. But for whatever reason, they haven't really... It was on the PSP, or was it the newer one, the Vita? Muramasa Reborn. Rebirth, something like that. It's quite good. So I would like to see that come up again in a form that we can actually play. I do not want to pirate it. I would like to support George Kamatami, Satoshi Sakamoto, Coco E-Club, everyone that's involved with that project, because it's fantastic. The graphics, the gameplay, everything is top-notch. That's right, freeze them bitches. Atta girl denim. Very handy. We're going to charm the white dragon. Arc dragon. Yeah, hit pretty hard there, fella. So these characters are using some of their best spells pretty early in the match because of Yuria. It's just constantly energizing the party. It's fantastic. Didn't realize how overpowered she was. Alright. Let's go, Sherry. Definitely easily one of the best magicians in the game, and make her a shaman. There you go, risk management. That looked cool, I guess. Dead. I don't like that creature in the back. He always heals. He's got these mending salves. They irritate me. Because when the game was a little more difficult, you would keep giving the dragon those heals. The dragon has a considerable amount of hit points. Where is he? There he is. 3,297. But we're not having too many troubles with that right now. Let's fucking get Yuria. Which I think the pronunciation in the English vernacular would be Julia. Isn't that right? I think it's a Russian name, actually. She doesn't need loyalty. Let's go with this. Yeah, I don't think this battle's gonna last too much longer. There you go. I was thinking of doing a playthrough of this game, but I'm pretty scattered right now. I don't think I can be consistent with it, especially given how many hours I've already put into it. It would be fun, but I'm just kind of picking and choosing things at this point. Just kind of can't really stick with anything right now. But if you're going to, this is a good one. This is going to give you lots and lots of gameplay. which was always a problem for me growing up because I wouldn't say I'm gifted at video games. It's just that I've always been obsessed with them, and I spend a lot of time with them. Usually, I beat games pretty quick. So these RPGs, in '93 and '94, I got Nintendo Power, and I was like, I'm buying this game. These games, and I'm beating them in a day or two, and I'm like, it's like $60 down the drain. So I started thinking, well, how can I better invest? RPGs, baby. There's a reason Baldur's Gate 3 is doing as well as it is these days. I think what it ultimately comes down to is people want more bang for their buck. It's an $80 game, true, which is way too high in my opinion for a game. But if you're going to spend $80, you could do worse. Got lots of different gameplay outcomes, much in the same way that this game does. There is lots of cause and effect in this game. At various points, you are given options to either do a lawful path, a chaotic path, or a neutral path, and it's kind of interchangeable depending on when and how you do it. Which means each time you go through the game, it's essentially going to play different. Certain characters who are friends now in my game might be enemies. You might have to earn their trust, or they might be just completely cut off from being able to be recruited altogether. So, alright, so I gotta whittle it down even more, don't I? Balls, alright, really need advice for this battle. This is an annoying one. 2 dragons and a whole bunch of skellies. Usually. Yeah, 2 black dragons. Skellies. See that shit? Undeads can also be a problem. So they come back to life. It's always good to bring a character who has a spell that can take care of that, which I think we do with Sherry right now. So we're going to switch to her real fast. And she can't use Starfall, of course not. Maybe on the next turn then. Anyone played the RoboCop game demo? That looks pretty insane. I really want to get that. But Metal Gear Solid Collection's coming out in a few days. so I'm probably just gonna opt for that. Spending a little bit too much money lately, so. But that's a pretty good deal. What, 6 to 9 games for $50, $60? And I believe Deno also has, yeah. There we go. Alright, what's the other requirements? Oh, that's no problem. Let's just finish this match. That sucks. Dragon scale. Very annoying to deal with. Oh, that's good. Poison him. I don't want you to die, and you're stupid, so I'm going to go ahead and put you back here. I'd like to debuff this damn thing, but look at that damage. Woo! Charm. Nope. Not that side. Hey, look at that. Beautiful. So that's the status effect stuff I was talking about. Alright, very good. Never a big fan of that stage. So here's another big battle coming up with that androgynous witch creature thing, whatever it is. I'm not sure how to quantify it at this point. Let's switch it up a bit. Gamp is kind of a weird creature himself. Makes friends with flying creatures, all manners of beasts. Let's take a look at him here in a second. That is an ugly character. Let's do an equally ugly character right here. Look at this guy. I gave him Traino's scales. Gave him a lightning affinity because that's very effective against some kinds of animals. Beasts that you'll be fighting, and it has a very high damage potential against dragons, which is nice. That's piercing and lightning damage. So, and Tempest Blade is excellent with counterattack for that's just absolutely beautiful. Are just so fun to use end game. Go. It shouldn't be too bad of a battle, though. This can be an annoying battle. There's two beast creatures. There's a beast men on the other side. That's an archer. Who will tank quite a bit. They're carrying. About this story, a lot of the concepts from this game came from storyboards that were made by Izumi Matsuno, as he was a foreign war correspondent or some kind of international correspondent regarding foreign affairs in Japan. So he's privy to this information and all of these little stories, I feel like, that he read up on regarding the Serbian-Bosnian War in the late 80s and early 90s, and some of the circumstances, somehow retaining that something about that sense of character for use in his game. And I don't know exactly how that came about or what the implication is there, but that is just me pondering. There we go. Essentially, what you have in Tactics Ogre is a retinue of children, barely old enough to wield a stick, let alone a sword, taking it upon themselves to fight for their country, to save their homeland against these invaders. And I'm sure some of that comes from some of the correspondence that Matsuno did early on in his career, and because he did like to make, I don't know if they weren't called diagrams, dioramas. He is a big fan. That would be a very, very interesting way to go about creating things. I would just love to hear that process. I recently saw a video where two people were outside of a cinema waiting to see a film. I think it was John Carpenter's Vampires, but I think the projectors were off or something that day, and so two men just happened to meet up. And they started talking about film and about video games and about creation and about cinema and about the history of it. These two men were Hideo Kojima and Izumi Matsuno. And they just kind of happened to talk and just to start, getting into the two great creators, just kind of describing the craft, and just to have been a fly on the wall at that point in time to hear what they were talking about. I can't imagine how interesting that would have been. Especially considering this was at the point in both their careers, late 90s, when they were starting to set themselves apart from other game designers at the time. So, wow, that would have been something else. And that's kind of relevant because I know they didn't have too much input from Hideo Kojima at this point, which sucks ass, but I mean, at least the games are intact. It sounds to me like the Bluepoint restorations are what they're going with for Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. But we'll see. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting that. Those are some of my favorite games, but I wonder how well they've aged. With this game, like a fine wine. But I have trouble going back and playing Metal Gear Solid 1. It's just kind of janky. At the time, there was nothing like it in terms of its presentation. It was unparalleled. Considering it's Kojima's contemporaries and the types of games that were being made. But it's a little janky now. But I'm going to try to go into it with an open mind again. Hopefully it reaches 60 frames per second. There's been a big stink about that online, about people complaining about that with the Switch. I just, the Switch is a piece of hardware, it doesn't really get it done. But even an old game like that, I've heard that it's not going to be able to run some of these games, at 60 frames per second consistently. Which might be a little problematic for people who are interested in getting it for the system. But I've heard the Switch 2 is right around the corner. Who knows? All right, let's get Murden out. So it's Saturday. My name's Ryan. You're watching a stream right now. I am that one guy who does things. That's my handle. Don't ask. It just sounded right at the time, I guess. And we are watching Tactics Ogre Reborn. We're in the Sand Bronze Ruins right now. And we're back. Alright, we're now into the stream. It's been a few days, so I thought I'd reconnect with Twitch, kind of show what I've been up to. Didn't think it'd be all that interesting grinding in this game. It's kind of a laborious process, so I don't think it'd be that much fun to watch. But describing the craft a bit and my relationship with the game and the number of times I've played it and all that, it's kind of a fun conversation because there's so many things, so many details in this game that kind of branch off into other kind of parts of conversation. So. Can of Piss has got the auto haste on. I hate these guys so much. The Cyclops creatures are very annoying to deal with. Yeah, this isn't my favorite song from the soundtrack. I believe this was from an Ogre Battle song from the Super Nintendo version. I was not a fan of it then either. It seems a little bit too bright for me. Bright and cheery, considering the subject matter. Wow, that was actually exceptional damage there. And as much as I love this soundtrack, I don't think I've ever turned it off. Thousands of hours just listening over and over to this music. And there's a reason for that. It's very, very, very good. Everything about it. But this song is not my favorite. So yeah. Take care of that Cyclops before he pisses me off. Please. Thank you. Guy's got a lot of hit points, damn. That's cockatrice? What the hell is that? A rook. A giant demon bird said that the demons rode upon these during the Great Ogre Battle. Now, you cannot recruit these creatures, unfortunately. And look at this. That would have been pretty nice. That annoys me. But, what are you going to do? Ooh, Avalanche 4, not bad, not bad. Still looking for Word of Blast 4? Is that what it's called? Word of Pain 4? All these hundreds of hours, I can't find these singular items, and it is starting to annoy me. That works. I hope when I die I make such a noise myself. If for no other reason to either freak people out or make them laugh hysterically. Wouldn't that be a way to go? Like, what the fuck is that guy doing? Well, at least he's having fun on the way out. Okay. So... pretty good damage there. Well, okay. That's why poison is your friend in this game. Chain leggings, oh great, I really needed that, but strength charm and max hit points. Yeah, that's probably better. I've got a lot of items I need to sell. I've been aggregating all this shit for hours and hours and hours. Leather and dirt. Everything, man. Too much. No, I hate this bit. It's annoying. I'm gonna go ahead and switch you out for Walius. And what else can I? Celestial. Try the Angel. She's got some exorcism spells as well. Makes sense. I'll go manual on the first set of actions here because first of all, I don't trust my characters. Okay. And second of all, this is a really annoying fight if you're not set up properly. We're going to actually make use of these items that we have. See if we can put some of these, make these, go ahead and do Ardent Ender. Alright. Alias is easily the best cleric in the game. It seems like her AI is just heads and tails better than everybody else. I don't know why. Let's see here though. I did want to speed Angel up here, Celestia, because she is technically pretty slow to start out with. She gets moving though. I need to give her a magic item. That's alright. Do one exorcism. Alright. Now let's see if the AI can follow through. There we go. That's what we wanted. Yeah. You were trying to avoid that, but that's alright. Good blocks there. Angel's pretty good. Celestria, she has a name, people. Come on. Alright, so this is what you want with the mesh. You get the critical card here, which they will definitely not pick up unless you're right on top of it. Alright, let's see what happens here. I only hit critical once. Oh, we're taking him out quickly enough. I think the next game I was kind of interested in playing was Lufia 2. I haven't played that in a very long time. That's an old favorite. I might cheat a little bit. I played through the games many times. Let's see. I'm not really sure how to stream through my computer yet. It probably isn't that complicated, though. What was I doing? Ah, yes. Yeah, it ain't gonna matter. That was a bad move. See, you should have done Star Nova with the star thing. Didn't need to use that. Questionable choice there. She knows her job, though. All right, Sherry. This isn't gonna. It's gonna hurt, but whatever. I'd rather get rid of those enemies. Very good, very good. I'm going to take a break here. Yay, an experience charm. Yeah, let's go ahead and make a save, and I will talk to you folks later.